Thank you, my dear friend, Professor Senaka Rajapaksa, for the kind words of introduction. I can only marvel at what you as president and your committee achieved despite all obstacles placed in your way by the pandemic, lockdowns, and economic downturn. We will think of 2021 in years to come and be inspired by your innovative and dynamic leadership of the CCP. I salute you and your council and wish you the very best and seek your wise counsel in the affairs of the CCP in 2022. Thank you. The trustees, past presidents, members of the council, fellows, members, associate members, and distinguished invitees. It is with utmost humility that I stand before this august assembly as the 46th president of the Ceylon College of Physicians. The CCP was established in 1967 when 12 eminent physicians met together at the then General Hospital, Colombo. As we enter the 55th year, the CCP remains the premier academic professional organization for physicians in this country. Today, we have in our midst general internal medicine specialists as well as physicians from all finer specialties. We also have other specialists such as psychiatrists, pathologists, and pediatricians with representation of them in the council. We also have associate members who have passed the entry examination in MD Medicine and are currently trainees as registrar and senior registrar programs. Deriving strength from both academic and professional eminence of its fellows and members, the CCP is uniquely placed to guide patient care and act as the thought leader in defining the future direction of healthcare in Sri Lanka. My personal journey in the CCP started in 2005 when I was awarded the Vijayarama Prize at the Young Physicians Forum. I came back formally to the CCP's fold in 2013 when my mentor in the CCP, Professor Udaya Ranawaka, invited me to join the council. That year, there were regional meetings in all 9 provinces, and I was entrusted with the task of creating academic programs for all of these meetings. In 2015, my dearest teacher, Dr. Lalit Wijayaratne, invited me to be the secretary of the CCP. That year taught me all about the traditions, etiquette, and responsibilities of the CCP. In 2016, Dr. Nihal Gunatilaka invited me to chair the scientific committee for the annual academic sessions. During the Golden Jubilee celebrations in 2017, I felt totally out of depth and had to claw at the very bottom of my humor resources when Professor S.D. Jayaratne invited me to be the master of ceremonies at the grand banquet. I survived receiving only light-hearted censures from not just the CCP president, but the RCP president as well. Subsequently, quite reluctantly, I had to take leave of the CCP when I was invited to be president of my beloved Galle Medical Association in 2019. That year served as my primer to be what I am today. In 2020, when past presidents Dr. Ananda Wijayavikrama and Professor Senaka Rajapaksa invited me to send the statement of expression of interest to be president of the CCP, it was both a pleasant surprise and a cause for trepidation. Inspiring words from some trusted CCP friends reassured me that the time had indeed come and I was ready. I'm grateful to all the past presidents of the CCP for appreciating my vision for 2022 and my years of dedication to the CCP and nominating me as the president-elect in 2021. Today, the greatest honor a physician can strive to achieve in Sri Lanka has been bestowed upon me. I accept this honor with all humility. The CCP has been led by some of the greatest physician sons and daughters of this country. 13 of them are no longer with us. I honor their memory. 2 of the 12 eminent physicians from 1967, Dr. Lakshman Ranasinghe, who has honored us with his presence today, and Professor Channa Vijayasinghe still stand with the CCP. I pay tribute to the past presidents who have elevated the CCP to such lofty standards. Many of them are here today to share our joy. I read the name list of past presidents of the CCP. It is a star-studded list and equates to the Milky Way of physicians. It was difficult for me not to have an existential crisis looking at that list. But as I stand before you, along with my council, and look to the future, I'm reminded of the quote mistakenly assigned to Sir Isaac Newton, but perhaps originating from Bernard of Chartres centuries back, that we are indeed privileged to see further as dwarfs, perched on the shoulders of giants from the past 54 years of the CCP. Turning to the present, I believe we are all cautiously optimistic about the year ahead. Though virus variants appear on a frequent basis, we're expanding our knowledge on the Greek alphabet. With wide vaccination coverage, we may be able to resume greater personal interaction whilst retaining the wonders we claimed through online gathering. Whilst retaining our new gains, we set out to recapture the past glories of the CCP. This brings me, ladies and gentlemen, to the unveiling of CCP's vision for 2022. My personal mission in medicine has been simple. I wanted to become a good doctor. None of the lectures I attended, none of the books I read could give me a clear, precise answer on how to get there. Obviously, there are many good doctors around, but how to get there? I believe one has to discover one's own truth. I have spent hours observing the good doctors, trying to learn. The doctors whom the patients would say, just seeing the doctor made them feel well. Is that possible? What is the quality that the good doctor has which can make these miracles happen? Hence, I've been on a lifelong quest to identify which attributes go to make a good doctor or a good physician. And I share these with you. The first attribute is technical prowess, the possession of up-to-date knowledge about illnesses and treatment, bedside medical examination skills, ability to perform relevant diagnostic and therapeutic procedures. The second attribute is analytical thinking, the ability to understand and solve complex problems. That is to analyze the problems in order to arrive at a comprehensive differential diagnosis, determine the most suitable tests, and instituting patient-centered care. The third attribute is communication skills, the ability to understand the said, the told, and the untold stories of patients. Doctors need to communicate with patients, families, colleagues, and other staff in the medical setting. Our successes and failures depend on how well we communicate. An often made mistake is to limit the communication to imparting information. Communication includes how we look at patients, how we smile and put them at ease, how we listen to their stories and not merely take histories. Being empathetic, being able to understand how patients think and feel, being a friend to them, whom they can approach to discuss their innermost worries and make them feel that the doctor has their best interest at heart. I quote from this poem. John Stone, the contemporary poet and cardiologist, pens in his celebrated poem, Gaudeamus Igitur, "For you may need to strain to hear the voice of the patient in the thin reed of his crying. For you will learn to see most acutely out of the corner of your eye, to hear them best with your inner ear." That is the communication and comfort that patients seek from doctors. The challenge before the CCP in 2022 is how to align itself with these requirements to make a good doctor. For the first attribute, technical prowess, we will continue to strengthen the current academic activities. We have divided each of the 12 months to subspecialties and will conduct academic programs on a specialty theme, and the month of January was on cardiology. This morning, we very successfully concluded the cardiology specialty update. We have monthly college lectures and these specialty updates where 3 to 4 speakers from the specialty participate in a symposium. There will be courses focused on postgraduate examinations, both at entrance level and the MD medicine examination. The MRCP theory as well as PACES examination will hopefully be conducted this year after a 2-year break for COVID. The pinnacle of technical prowess acquisition will be the annual academic sessions, which will take place from the 22nd to the 24th of September this year, with the participation of local and overseas experts. For the second attribute, analytical thinking, we have a problem-based learning agenda. The mission is to learn from each other and share knowledge. Fools, they say, learn from their mistakes, and wise men learn from those of others. We will learn from peers. We will learn about successes and mistakes. Who are these peers? There will be peer learning from international experts in the Cutting Edge series. From senior colleagues who've seen it all in our Pearls of Wisdom program. From colleagues who work away from the center in limited resource settings under the Peripheries to the Fore program. The monthly CCP quiz will be an online challenge to the membership and will further develop our ability to analyze complex problems. The international faculty lecture in January was when to intervene in non-ST elevation myocardial infarction, which signifies the problem-based learning that we are aiming for. For the third attribute, communication skills, we envisage greater engagement with humanities. Humanities help doctors in many ways. It gives them happiness and reduces exhaustion and burnout. They understand patient narratives better through humanities. Development of the skill to observe similar circumstances from different perspectives or lateral thinking helps build an all-round story for the doctor. We will promote greater engagement with humanities through a series of Beyond Medicine programs, the first of which on medical mythology will happen in February. In addition, we will have a creative forum for members and families to engage with the fine arts. The CCP weekly update will have a column written by the President discussing these ideas. The column last week highlighted the Theranos scandal and the subsequent sentencing of Elizabeth Holmes, bringing to the focus the unhealthy nexus between medicine and business. These were indeed the three attributes I had identified as making up the core of a good doctor. But over the past 2 years, as we grappled with the greatest of challenges doctors of our times faced with the COVID pandemic, I came to recognize the existence of a fourth attribute or a fourth dimension. This is resilience. Resilience means the capacity to see through difficult times and recover quickly. The physicians who handled the pandemic better had greater resilience. As Epictetus, the slave-turned-philosopher, wrote in Enchiridion, the most important thing is our ability to understand that external events are not under our control, but we control how we respond to them. We could always look to survive a crisis, battled and bruised. But resilience means not just to survive, but coming out of the tragedy with a greater set of skills, a greater ability to face up to similar situations in the future. In effect, to become better than we were before the pandemic. As Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman philosopher and emperor, wrote in the Meditations, impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. So how can the CCP take on this challenge to align itself with building greater resilience among physicians? Whilst contributing to personal development of individual physicians, we wish to reach out to a wider segment of both medical and non-medical partners. Specialization, subspecialization, and finer specialization is wonderful for the development of science, but runs the risk of confining us to our enclaves, isolation, and maybe even promotion of personal interests. We could easily lose cohesiveness. What is bad for the hive is bad for the bee. Though we collaborate closely with our sister colleges, we can improve our cohesion with non-physician colleges. Hence, we held our Collegia Unitum Scientia program in January inviting the newly elected president of the College of Surgeons of Sri Lanka, Dr. Satish Gunasinghe, who is here with us today, to do a guest lecture, Urology on Scalpel, for physicians. From next month, we wish to reach out to our non-medical professional associations too, starting with the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, the president of which, Mr. Salia Piris, is an honored guest today. Well, when all medical professionals and other professional organizations share resources and move cohesively towards the common good of the society, we will have greater resilience and become better, not despite the pandemic or any other adverse event, but because of it. This brings us to the theme for the year. There was a brief introduction to the theme of the year when the procession walked in to the music of Beethoven's Ode to Joy from the Ninth Symphony, and the lighting of the lamp to the violin rendition of Jayamangala Gatha. The usual practice is for a leader to think of a theme for the year and set programs to meet it. We are doing it differently this year, adopting a bottom-up approach. We first identified what our core value was, a good physician. Then we identified what goes into making a good physician: technical prowess, analytical thinking, communication skills, and resilience. We then aligned the CCP action plan to strengthen these attributes. Finally, looking at all activities we have planned, we set about summarizing it to a few words to be showcased as the theme. Hence, ladies and gentlemen, the theme for the CCP 22 is Crossing Divides and Bridging Gaps, the theme that runs across all our programs and which strengthens us in all four attributes. I invite all of you to walk the journey with us, supporting the Council in all our activities, participating as both resource persons and as the attentive audience. In 1 year's time, on an occasion like this, I hope we will be able to look back and rejoice. As I reach the final part of the presidential address, I beg your indulgence for a moment for me to thank some very special people who helped me in the journey to be here. My school teachers at DS who taught me going that extra mile, some of them are here today. My teachers at Colombo Medical Faculty who made me a doctor. One incident stands out, which I would like to relate this evening to show how much teachers can inspire students. As a second-year student, seated in the magnificent physiology lecture theatre at the Colombo Medical Faculty, Professor Colvin Gunaratna asked me an explanation for a problem on osmolality. Though I had very little idea about the nuances of osmolality, I gave him what I thought was a reasonable explanation for the question. He walked up to me, asked my name, walked back to the blackboard, wrote my name, and said, Arosha is going to be a top physician in this country one day. I was very pleased knowing that he said something good was going to happen to me. But my problem was, I hadn't the foggiest idea who a physician was. During a long vacation at medical college, I had the privilege of working as a journalist for the Sunday Times under the tutelage of Mr. Singha Ratnatunga and Mr. Iqbal Atas. I honed my writing skills and I am grateful to them. Upon graduation, my internship in medicine was with Professor Devaka Fernando, a mentor to me to this day, and Professor Kamani Vanigasuri and Professor S.D. Jayaratna, who have honored me by serving on the council this year. I was their house officer. I was surgery intern to the late, great Professor Dayasri Fernando and Professor Mohan De Silva, who contributed so much to my development as a humane doctor, but probably never forgave me for not becoming a surgeon. Professor P.L. Aryananda and my teachers during my registrar and senior registrar days made me the physician and the university academic I am. My overseas trainers, Professor Devaka Fernando and Professor George Thompson, for my development to work at an international setting. Professor Pali Hanjin, my dear friend and my great mentor, for being with me through the good and difficult periods of my life. I'm most grateful to them. Finally, my parents, who are no more, who taught me values and provided me a sound education. They were English lecturers and gifted me with the love of literature, writing, and music. I'm grateful to my wife, Harshini's parents, who are now my parents. My adorable children, Dili and Desh, who provide love and encouragement at all times. And my wife, Harshini, who has been everything to me. Her creativity has helped me do many beautiful things. She is the sounding board with whom I discuss every idea, and she helps me to see the good and bad sides. Without her by my side, I would be much less. I'm grateful to all of you. As we speak of resilience, I leave you with the words of perhaps the greatest song ever sung, the song of Buchenwald. Buchenwald was a notorious Nazi concentration camp where this song was written, set to music, and sung by starved, ill, shivering with cold inmates facing imminent death to keep themselves away from despair. They implore us not to lament or complain, but to have courage and hope and say yes to life. Ladies and gentlemen, let's enjoy the cultural item which will happen next, which again will be a reflection of our theme. Let's enjoy this evening. Let's enjoy the year ahead. Thank you for your patient listening.